Malo mo e tauto e mau e pongpong whawhawha koe ni. Ko e pongpong tu siteni a tahawalu o Sanuari. Wafe ma ua pe ko o atahatari talerea ki mo tolu. Malo e lau maria hou egi pe pe whoke tonga mo i wulango tonga mo mea mai. Kamata e tau polo karama. Ko awen mo Emeline wha umniu te ko a penta ko ngaika. Opo ma whakarea te pongpong koe ni. Kono uhinga ko e o atu aipe ai update whikau aki pia mo e Volcano Eruption o Tonga. Ko iai te uangi minute koe ni kia Emeline ke ni o atamini te taka Emeline ke ni whakahoko atu e mea hoko atu pa matoki hoko atu. Maro.
Mala ata foi hiva kada ta kamadae.
Ia.
Kokoe pe ai tali siso kokoe pe ai mo oni te uho atu eki I he ahoni he oku tau mokoe ai whakawhenai he kokoe ahoku tauhi Kusihova ahoku tauhi Kusihova ahoku tauhi
Malolele Tonga katoa pe fo ke la mali e ho eke ko maline fa omnite ko e pong ke ni ka programa ma ke hene ko hinga ko atu I most recent update ko ulaki first official update ni talo me hoko kona eruption ni na ma umaya me office konsela San Francisco bo ate fa malo ki he konsela honorable Sela Turkia more information kani I'll give it back to you, Brenda. Ke hanga fa hoko mai ngai update ko ni I he pong ini whekau aki pēr moe tsunami ka koe first official government of Tonga update tēne ku tamau he pong ini. Brenda, I'll give it back to you.
Okay. Malo ate fo hiwa fafo ofa koe ni kamata ki ta polo kalamai pongpong ini. Aia koe tohi whakahanga tonu e ni pia me he Government of Tonga in English. So I'm just going to go ahead and read that in English, but tau toki whakatonga pe as we picked I he whakapalakalafi. So Government of Tonga media release 18th of January 2022. So this is the first official update following the volcanic eruption. So an unprecedented disaster hit Tonga caused by the Hunga Hapai volcanic eruption on Saturday evening, 15th of January 2022, followed by a tsunami warning issued, which triggered a mass evacuation. As a result of the eruption, a volcanic mushroom plume was released, reaching the stratosphere and extended radially, covering all Tonga islands, generating tsunami waves rising up to 15 meters and hitting the west coast of Tongatapu Islands, Ewa, and Hapai Islands. So the initial damage assessment is now underway with reports to the National Emergency Management Committee, Ayagoy NEMC, which met on Saturday night to discuss and approve immediate response operations and planning. NEMC has been meeting daily since it happened. So communication, both international and domestic, was severed due to damage sustained by the submarine cable from the eruptions, and then there was no further communication with the outer islands until the morning of yesterday. Oh my gosh, that's how soon it was, eh?
And while you're reading that, Brenda, I can bring in the picture or while you're reading that.
Yeah.
Continue to read while I'm bringing pictures. So
yeah, go ahead. I'll be reading while you're go ahead and posting it.
Yeah.
So until the morning of 17th of January, after the deployment of His Majesty Armed Forces patrol boats, as of today, then, limited communication had been made with Vava'u and Hapai through satellite phones and HF radio. There had been no communication with the Niuas as yet. The Niuas are considered low risk because of their relative distance to the Hunga Hapai volcano. So the space of distance relatively far enough for them to be safe where they're at the Niua Islands. So domestic phone calls operate only within Tongatapu and Ewa. Due to the damage to the international fiber optics cable, internet is down completely. The two communications operators are working on satellite options to restore some service, including the internet. Priority will be given to international calls and communication services such as emails, and efforts had been made to restore full communication capabilities. Go ahead, Emeline, and I'll
Yeah.
give you to.
Kaki mua ke hoko atu ai aku mahina mahini ko e communication ni oku very limited ai oku
O
ma
ko
ko
down pa iya.
minga
Yeah,
ko o ko e ke mo whanonga ki ho mo family me tonga ai o whi mau pe ke tau calm and be patient kai te kuanga ki e pureanga pe mo so te ke whai nao ngā we. I'm pretty sure once they open up the call but we trying to bring out the update more information ko ini where are we at okay. The Tamaka search and rescue operation began immediately on Sunday morning to Atata Island and Aha village. Of the two reported missing, Aikatogo and I report mole. One has been found alive, thank God, ko maitota ko muui, and the
Oh,
other, ko British national,
patahinin. Yeah.
was unfortunately the first fatality. I go fatal. I go nga ko tainin ko maumay ko malolo. I think I also saw a picture here at the thing. We can print that out later on, but that's very sad to hear that. Ko ulaki mate ia i Tonga, ko tota ko ni ko Britania.
Yeah.
And to date, there are three confirmed fatalities, including the British national. Aya ko toko tolu eni ko was mahino mai ko malolo, ko toko taha ko palangi ko ini me Britania, pa ko no hoko ko ta ono nima ko fefine ta ono nima from Mango Island. And a 49-year-old male, aya ko mo toko taha ta fahiva me Nomuka Island,
Yeah.
Pep tamai e guai mo ngai lave lave o ku osili poti mai. HMAF Warrior Ngahaukola was deployed the day after the eruption with first responder including a health team and experts to the Oumuamua group in Hawaii with some relief item including water. Aya na dau ilo pe ko ulaki firma ulai taha mai eni me ngai fitu ko ni ko vai.
Yeah.
Pana tamai na o si o te pe ai so dia he the next day ke na wa tu mo to ko ni ko ni ki ngai fitu ko ni
And
ni
also
ngai
food
vai.
and tents.
Yeah, including
Yeah.
in he vai ko me akai pe mo ngai te ni ti
Yes.
Due to the severity of the damages observed, the HMAF Voya Latte was also deployed on Tuesday, the 18th January, with another health team. Ay ko aneafi ana na tu sita fog na to aneafi.
Yeah.
Ay ko ani fa kapule lulu. So additional resources and emergency responders based on reports from the initial mission to Mango, Fonoifua, and Nomuka. Uh, Koe aia ko tokoni ia whima o viviri la mai ka koe ngai whetu koe ni. Ko mango whanoifua pia mono muka. The first consignment is headed for this island as all houses were destroyed on Mango Island. Only two houses remain on Fonoi 4 Island with extensive damage on Nomuka Island. Koe ne tau mai ai tala koe ni koe whare ko toa pe ia I mango nai osi auhaia, nai destroyed. Ai koe whare pe ua I whanoi o ku tuu with a lot of extensive damage ki no moka fulai a pita ai ka ngai motu ani kona pusia lai taha ai nuk tau o mai koe ni. Brenda, let me going over this one, and then you can give it back to you for the evacuation process has also been begun for all other affected areas from the small island of Atata into Tongatapu and from Mango Island and Fonoifua Island into Nomuka Island. Parts of the western side of Tongatapu ay tau ilo ko hihifoeni, including Kanokupolu. Two houses were completely damaged. Ay fale wayan ay ositaang apitoya and 35 severely damaged. Ay fale toluni may Kanokupolu o si na maulahi moya has also been evacuated to the evacuation center and are supplied with necessary relief items by the government. Aya ko si ave ko to kakai ko ni ki he senta ko ni ave ki ai ko ni ai evacuation uh, in the Central District, Kolomotua reported 8 houses completely damaged. Aikawhale Valley Kolomotua ko Tahaunga Aupitoia and 20 were severely damaged. Aikawhale e Wanoa na Maumalahi Aupito. The island of Ewa has also reported 2 houses completely damaged and 45 severely damaged. Ayako Ewa ko Fale Ewa o ku o si aua aupitoia toe pe mai fale whanima na e fuku maumaulah aupito. So I'll give it back to you, Brenda, ke ki whaosima e tau lipoti. But at the same time, you can see on the screen, koe ngā auen o whai, ai ko laki mau o ko atu koe vai, yeah? Brenda, unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Am
You are now. Yes, you are now on.
Am I good now?
Yes, you're good now.
Okay. So we're on the last paragraph.
Yes.
So,
Go ahead.
water supplies have been seriously affected by the volcanic ash. So, government have been made to ensure the continuity of the supply of safe drinking water. So, an initial damage assessment IDA team comprised of various representatives from government and non-government departments was deployed immediately on Sunday to coastal villages in Tongatapu to assess damages to private household and their needs. The cluster system had been activated and are compiling reports or needs to be addressed. Challenges to sea and air transportation remain due to damage sustained by the wharves and the ash that is covering the runways. So domestic and international flights have been deferred until further notice, and the airport undergo a big cleanup. Even though the tsunami warning had been canceled and volcanic activity had significantly decreased, monitoring efforts still continue. Aia neongo ko tu e tsunami ia pia mo e to e kai ke to ia whahinga activity whaka volcanic e merini.
Oh, yeah.
Ka kai pe ke tau tui ko osi yet. He?
No.
O ku kei murmur pe whaitu kotoa, Pea kei monitor pe e pure anga pe nau effort ke continue on. Koe mea malo in wha malo atu. Hono ma umai e talaki koe mi tonga ke whakahoko atu,
Oh, yeah. And I think I might just have some video to play.
Okay.
Because koe fu mea koe ni ko kamatain ke tau si atu ki ngai damages, Aia ko sewa ki motu kan ko mango o sawa ko to e u api ai. Ko ka pare tu wai. But we don't know the population of mango penai to.
Mango is in Mava'u o Hapai?
No Hapai, ka whangi o tumoto no Hapai.
Okay.
Aia hange ko whanoi, ko ki whare peia e ua o kei tu wai. 2 houses remain on Whanoi. Aia with extensive damage, aia ko lahi apita mangahila. Maulahi ia ki Nomuka. So, and this is our very first official update in me Pleanga Tonga. Whamala ke konsela no mai information ko ni ke tau tuku atu. But at the same time, aku There's a lot of work need to be done, Kitonga,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And we don't know how long the damage is gonna be, but uh,
So,
it's very scary.
iyo, there's a lot of work for ke pure anga Tonga.
Oh yeah,
Pea ko ta whamalo pe foki ko ni o create the communication straightforward pe me Tonga
oh yeah,
through the consular up to us. Ka koe mea pe o ko telefon ko ne to kiu mai e melini ko whima ke ta tukuangi fo I video ko na e whikau ako, the very powerful video that you
okay.
put on. So we will put that on right now. Thank you.
Yes,
Leho.
I can bring that on right now.
Aia ko os leva umi ako ni te tato lawat pe anay nayang
Iyo,
before we
something about
close.
it that ko over pay for tonga ko ni me ko ni.
Patonga, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let
Malo.
me see. Okay.
Oh, malo rini. Thank
That was
you.
a very one powerful video. I have
Yes.
a new video. Maybe I can share that, Brenda, because I got that. I think most of the thing we are sharing, more and more videos are coming up in the very kind of uh, ko tau whanawan ke ngahi damages kon ko report mai, and this is our very first official report from the government of Tonga. But at the same time, we want to take a look at how this magnitude of this eruption happened.
Iyo. Ko ia.
Going I ha ko ta pen we me ka ne so tia, and I wanted to bring it on so we can watch it.
O pu whakarifia au pit.
Yes. Okay.
The latest on that devastating underground volcanic eruption off the coast of Tonga over the weekend. The government is giving its first official update, saying 3 people are confirmed dead and there are multiple injuries as well. And as we look at these images, I mean, before and after here, you see side by side, the massive eruption has caused significant damage along the western coast of Tonga's main island, and 3 smaller islands are now being evacuated because water supplies are being affected by all that ash.
Is that video on
Australian and New Zealand reconnaissance flights? And let's
The
get the
latest
latest
there
there
from
from
Stephanie
Stephanie
Skandaris
Skandaris
in
in
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Hold on, I think I was like
These surveillance flights have
let
come
me
from
start it
Australia.
again, that video.
Okay.
The latest on that devastating underground volcanic eruption off the coast of Tonga over the weekend. The government is giving its first official update,
We already
saying
have
3
our
people
first
are
official.
confirmed dead and there are multiple injuries as well. And as we look at these images, I mean, before and after here, you see side by side, the massive eruption has caused significant damage along the western coast of Tonga's main island, and 3 smaller islands are now being evacuated because water supplies are being affected by all that ash. We're getting images as well from Australian and New Zealand reconnaissance flights, and let's get the latest there from Stephanie Skandaris in Melbourne.
These surveillance flights have come from Australia and New Zealand, and they're really showing the extent of the damage on the ground from that huge undersea volcanic eruption. What you can see in the images are the port, buildings, roads completely covered in ash. Buildings and houses are destroyed, they're missing, and we're actually just getting a breaking alert from the Tongan government. They're saying that all the houses are destroyed on one of the islands, on Mango Island, that on another island, only 2 houses remain, and that on a third island there is extensive damage. So we're seeing some of that in these surveillance flight images from Australia and New Zealand. Now, Tonga's government is telling people to stay indoors to avoid breathing in this ash, and there are fears the ash could contaminate food and supplies.
Yes.
But it's going to be very difficult to get aid there, because what these images also show is the airport runway is completely covered in ash, making it impossible for planes to land at the moment. Now, part of the reason these surveillance flights are so necessary is because the main undersea connection cable has been cut, and that is making it nearly impossible to get a hold of people who are there. Now, naturally, that is making people who are part of the Tongan communities in countries like Australia, they are frantically trying to get a hold of their family members. Here's how one Tongan Australian described what she's going through.
The worst fear is always that you're not going to see the people that you love again. Yeah, that's the worst fear. The worst fear is the suffering of other people. That's hard to cope with, probably even more than your own suffering.
Now, sadly, we are hearing now that 3 people have died. Only one has been identified so far. She is a 50-year-old British national named Angela Glover, Heather.
A lot of attention in the British press as they were waiting to find her whereabouts. What a story that one is as well. And so many, obviously, Stephanie, we're starting to learn now. What is the world doing? What are other countries doing to respond and agencies to help?
Well, Australia and New Zealand have both pledged to help, but of course, as we said, it is difficult for flights to land until that runway is clear. So Australia is sending a Navy ship. It is the HMAS Adelaide. It is loaded with medical and engineering supplies and helicopters for distribution, but it will take 5 days for it to get to Tonga from Brisbane. The Australian Red Cross, it has also sent equipment, things like water containers, mosquito nets, shelter kits, things like that. New Zealand is also sending 2 Navy ships, and it's pledged $1 million in aid. Now, another concern is doing all of this in a COVID-safe way, but the countries in this part of the world have pledged to help Tonga, help get it back on its feet, Heather.
Okay, so pretty much they bringing that official we just announced from the Tonga consulate. Ai ko tau kind of follow along with dynamic silky reality of what this magnitude have done, eh?
Io. O te kei ke ta whanongo ke ki whamiri koe me makahaa.
Ko ia te ke ta whanau ke ki family ka me makaha, that's so true. Ko tui pia we're just gonna continue to pray ki kakai ko inga ko ko ngahi mea koe ni o ku hoko I Tonga he koe ni putau ngona mai ko is confirmed mai ko tokotolo mate ai ko taha ko British citizen ko taha ko fina eki ta o ono nima pea moe tau whahiwa ka koe tangata me no muka ia aia koe whine iki ana me mango na malolo mango but I tell you because mango was was completely every houses in mango is completely destroyed aia koe for you a pay for noi aia koe mate koe ni me mango pea mo for noi mo no muka
No muka. Io.
koe ia aia koe whitua
Aia
koe
koe vai, koe tahi pēna hena
koe lahi a ko tui pe alfa tape tahi pa mo ashes ko tui pe ki ai this is kind of I'm trying to bring pictures and
yes.
ki ngahi me a koe ni koko ma ton pe ata ta foi fasi ka to ki
Koia.
hoko ki nei ai ha ko ni while I'm working on that one, let's say maha tau whahiwa whanonga ke kakai. Pea kei kore tai pe ke tau whamiri ko tō pe, whitu ko tō pe, ke nau lotu ko mea pe tani mika lotu Brenda. He koe ngā, koe limited, koe ai communication me tonga. Ai ak me ngāwe aki pe tani mi ki he pureanga. Ai he kunau pe he koe Ko tuka tani mika domestic phone calls of operate payer within Tonga Tapuen EWA. So, but very, very somber morning the way I felt about it.
Sombering, yes.
Yes. And I just try to keep my tears, you know, because I go for tawa sia ngahi mea koe ni kuhoko I Tonga. Na hibai kana e homosiasi na ta ane fi ako. I kind of wanted to play that again,
Yeah.
Na Maria ito. That's powerful. I
Yeah.
think you can read the screen, Brenda.
Yes. From Hiko Tonga, eh? Aya
Yeah,
koe Hiko in. So this individual is posting, is there a way to donate to Tonga relief funds? Relief, huh? I have a film, Hiko in Tonga, screening online, and we are making this into a fundraiser. HikoFilm.com is their contact. Okay.
oh
So,
yeah. And I'm pretty sure, Brenda, once we get our thing going, we should be able to accept any donation to the relief. Kaya nga kay Ame Hatong Pekitonga, eh?
yes.
And that one will be something we should be able to think of. And that's thank you for letting us know that, because we're out on the air and doing this. At the same time, the media tahiba with this, if you can just kind of a little bit emphasize what happening on the note that we have today, Brenda, while I'm trying to look for some more pictures to bring.
Oh, yeah.
Kaya
Yeah.
kung ano pa ay may ako ni na umaykan he officially he Tonga,
Oh,
may he
yeah.
kansela.
Koe mahalo koe o ku mei ha whakataha pe ai official whamatala ia koe me pule a ngā pe a moe ngahi mea koe ni o mai me he konsela. Some people are getting bits and pieces of the puzzle from every which way they can get it. Eh? Okay,
Yeah,
pe ni I hango ria hona o ke sa te lai te ria hona. So some
but
of their
were they
people,
able to
yeah,
connect there?
not to their families, but just the fact that that they have that oku kai forget ilo he kakai,
Oh yeah,
pe oku effectively working pe oku ikai ko
oh
tala
yeah.
pe ia. So ka koe,
Yeah, keep talking, Brenda. I was just trying to put some pictures
yeah,
on the
yeah,
phone on the
yeah.
line. Get those okay.
So oku oku whakaloloma mau pe e anga tau whanongo ki he mea koe ni. Um,
Koe kawe na koe sotia na koe lucky fie mau pena Brenda koe vai, yeah?
yes,
And
yes,
look at the sotia o kuna rotonga tu whake vai ke whanki motu.
yes.
Hei aku mau inga ke tau pea koe mea ia taha tau whiwhi ai te keke ati toko ni mei muri ko osi whai e tau toko ni pe whaalata whanua ai sotia ai tau malu i a NFO ai His Majesty Armed Forces. They were the first responder to be out there and distributing advice. Yeah,
Koia.
uh, we have something else.
Io, ko hikotonga I Benny, thank you for mentioning the fundraiser. If you do have a link, that would be great, Malo. Okay, so we will post as soon as things are, settling and we're able
Yeah,
to put it up for everybody. Yes.
yes, and I think that's one of the things that we need to have a mentor have somebody design that a donation
Yes.
website as soon as possible, so all the funding can come through that. To channel Kitong. I think
Kitonga.
that's very important. Gagawin ko ata ni ko winga atu continue ai pe ke update atu ke family ko tope mo me mai ki programa ko ne TWN atong World News ko Melina o ku atu ai update ti pe me he ulaki official update ni na mai me office konsela i San Francisco ko ulaki ko confirm mai o ya mate e tolu i Tonga ko mate ulaki ko e koe whiwhine koe ni me Britania, pe o kia mate i mango, koe whine e ki ta ono nima, pe a pehe whoke ki he mate i nomuka, koe tangata e ki tau whahipa. But was mahina mai he official kona ne hu, o ku kotoa e api kotoa i mango, o si whaauha kotoa ia, Koe api pe ua o ku kei tu I whanoi, fua, pea koe lahi au pito mai ngahi api o ku tae aonga I Nomuka. Pea ko kolo motua o tala mai koe whale e walu o ku osiripoti mai ia o completely damaged. Aia o tau pehe da doria ko ni completely damaged. Maa ko toi pe foundation ni,
Ko ia.
Pea koe whale e wataha I kano kupolu o completely damaged ia pa koe whale e tolu nima o severely damaged, Aia mau maulahi au
Ko
pito
ia.
ia. Pea koe whanima I let's say ko ewa ripoti ma ewa koe whale ua o ku completely damaged mo ia o mau taonga o pito ia pea mai whale e whanima o severely damaged. Ko ngai o ngongo ini ko mai mei he hangatonu mei Tonga me o physico ia o Palemia. Aia nei whawhau mai ia I he Consella Tonga mei California ka koe ko tau lahi e tau ilo ki he mau ko hoko I Tonga, pa ko tau kei whawhitai pe o ku kei si pe ai mate ka te tau ilo pe more and more ki he magnitude ko ni Brenda,
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
the magnitude of the eruption it could be worse than what we're already hearing right now,
Yes.
And we're so grateful for that. O tau kei monuia pe ki whonuaka. O te kei ke tau ilo, pe ka ngai whare koni ku damage pe nea whahinga na e perish ai,
Yeah.
So te kei ke mai ha mau ia me I whetu koen ki ngele ia pe ko pahu pe ko mea.
Ko
Ko
ia.
kolo motu a pe ni ko na os assess mai. Ai te ke tau whanau tato hanga I whetu koen ki whanga ko havelu ko So it's more like the western side pe ia o Tonga, ai ko kana kupolu ia. Tau ilo pe toka low lying area ia o Tonga. But if this is what they already assess, I am I mean, there's nothing. I didn't hear anything from Maofanga or all of those places, Ko kolomotu a penny prenta of no hanga koine
Ia. Ia.
o identify mai koine lahe mau,
Ko ia.
So back to you, Brenda.
Ko ia o ku Koe tau nofu koe taimi ni o ku te kai pe ke completely available mai ha whahinga information ke he kakai mo e whunga whonua pe mo anga ai whakamaa pe koe hai tu unga ea koe uraki contact koe uraki response o mai whakahanga tonu
Man,
ke
office
media
right.
ka ku hopefully pe day by day I he tahu mai ki he ta breaking news
Right.
lava lewa ke ta ma watu ai whakaiki ke component ko toa pe he waa o pure anga pe a moe ngahi tokoni. Ko si o to lahi a pito ai whenga tokoni a kakaitonga ki Tonga itself.
Yeah. I think
Just
we're
give
going to
it
set up
time.
our own website ke whai mai kia I donation ke relief.
Yes.
Once we communicate to Amanda that one. But Brenda, I tell you, when I read this with first official update, and ko puna kai wa puna, ko ki motu o sisi, the Vapuna will cover the entire island right away. But when I don't see any other places than Kolomotua, Asimaheni Pamaki ko now identify. My hope is high now because that's mean most of the area like you mentioned my that I keeping my finger crossed o kwa had damage ke o nge ko glau hange ko ngele ia ko fasi ko mafanga ko
Ko
ngai fe
pahu. Ko
ko
pahu
pahu,
is by the water edge.
right.
Yeah.
Go fanga, go havelu, go all of this.
Avelo.
And
Yes.
for them to just identify Kolomotua has the most damage, they already scoured the whole island already. This is a
Yeah.
blessing to me by reading this report.
Yes.
I have
Yes.
we're just gonna keep our hopes high. Kakelahe mate. But then with the houses going to Taupego completely destroyed, go ahead funky moto
Destroyed.
I hope there were no one bearish i ngai whale koe ni,
Koe tau ilo koe kia tau kakai. Koe kakai whenga. Ka koe
Koia.
hoka ngai mea pēnia, they will not be in the house. You know,
Right,
ka pau
right.
o ka e vai ki ai, they will find a way to get out. And I saw one of the video reflect a mom when e kaure ka tuu. Mo tuu ke olunga. Mo
Koia,
tuu ko pau
koia.
ke tau au ke hawhi tuu. O, you know, ke tau mawahe ke hawhi tuu ke tau hao ki ai. You know, so, you know.
I'm gonna bring out this picture ko ni o fefine ko ni ko os identify ko malolo. Fefine ko ni British so
Okay, ta ono hi wape ko e
no,
whewhine.
katahine Britania ni.
Ia ko tahi ni business en mo ni whankula.
Ko ni ko ni. If you
Mm.
guys can see, let me put that on the screen. This is the lady ko was identify my kumalolo
Ia. Yeah.
So we can and as yar ki tonga ko ni fai me ko ni ko I think she was doing the animal shelter
Ia ko animal shelter pe mo e tahui pe ke iai pe ha.
But that was not a wise decision for her to be on the water during this eruption but
Yeah.
at the same time our heart goes out to her family so and our prayers goes
Absolutely.
out to the family. This is a sad time for the family,
Ia. And I mean the husband was there too. It must have
yeah,
been really
right.
hard for him to
Yes,
watch
yes.
at the fia atu hono hoa.
Koya. So,
A whapito. Aia
uh,
ka dedication ki he ni ihi ko ia kua nausi more atu he
Koya.
tangata
What
koe
will
ni.
be the appropriate song here? Ke siang ke
Uh,
iwa koe ni ako iheni. Uh, ko himi koe ni a mea. Tolo no noa. Ko fie no. I'm not sure which one is that. Is that the
Ia
one?
koe whienu. Ia koe.
Okay. I can bring that out.
Yeah, very nice.
Mm. Let me share my screen. Bear with me. I'm clicking everywhere. So,
Your screen is fine, lady. Half off of it.
Amen. I have one more video to share before the end, because this is another one that share my sortia that I think we should be able to.
The eruption of the Tonga Ha'apai volcano in Tonga waves around the world. It's understood to have been the explosive eruption in 30 years and created a larger tsunami than experts thought possible. Much is still unknown about the eruption, and scientists believe it's far from over. But already, it has scientists reviewing the thinking around the impact such a volcanic explosion can cause. Tonga Ha'apai is a very active volcano. Located about 65 kilometers from Tonga's main island, Tonga Tapu, Tonga erupted several times in the 20th century, and most recently in 2009, and then again in December 2014 and January 2015. The most recent eruption began on December 20th. The explosion could be heard from 170 kilometers away, and a large plume was visible from the Tongan capital, Nuku'alofa. Activity died down in early January, but kicked off again on January 13th, when a large ash column was sent 17 kilometers into the atmosphere. 2 days later, on January 15th, a far larger eruption took place. The event literally touched every corner of the globe as a pressure wave spread out in all directions to complete a full circumnavigation. Scientists, of course, are now asking themselves why the eruption was so powerful. They also want to understand how the tsunami was created. The answers to both these questions feed into future hazard preparedness, although to be honest, right now, these finer details are much less important than the immediate needs of nearby islanders. Their lives have been upended by catastrophic flooding and ash fallout. Nonetheless, scientific insights will emerge. They're already being assembled. The name Hungatanga Hunga Ha'apai, HTHH, refers to the two island structures that stood about 100 m above the Pacific Ocean surface, roughly 65 kilometers north of Tonga's capital, Nuku'alofa. What wasn't apparent to the casual observer was the hidden edifice below water, a volcanic mountain rising some 1,800 m above the seafloor. The HTHH Islands represented just the uppermost part of the rim of a caldera, the opening to the volcano that was 6 kilometers across. It was in this submerged caldera that gas-rich magma came into contact with cold seawater to devastating effect. For Professor Shane Cronin, from the University of Auckland, who's made a detailed study of this volcano, the water depth was critical. The caldera summit is about 150-200 m below sea level. That's just about the right depth for there to be quite strong, explosive interactions between the magma and the seawater. Once you get much deeper, then what tends to happen is there's too much seawater, and it suppresses that explosive activity. Professor Cronin said a big event had been due. The last major eruption was in the year AD 1100, and prior to that there was a major episode 1,800 years ago. On that basis, the repeat cycle was roughly 900 years. That's now. The tsunami that followed could have been created in several ways. In the near field, where waves over 1 meter high were recorded at the Nuku'alofa tide gauge, some component would have resulted from rock and ash initially thrown high into the sky, then descending back down into the ocean to displace its waters. What scientists can't rule out at this stage is whether the extreme energy in the event didn't also cause some kind of submarine flank failure on the volcano. Something similar occurred at Anak Krakatau in Indonesia in 2018, although that involved a large amount of material above water then becoming submerged. This is a possibility, for sure, commented Dr. Vicky Farini from Columbia University's Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory. In data we collected in 2016, you could see a lot of big solidified chunks that looked like they had slid down the side of the volcano in the past. So, with an explosion of this size, you certainly wouldn't be surprised if further large sections of consolidated material had moved. The good thing is we have the baseline data to make a comparison when we go back in, but only when it's safe. For far-field effects, there is a lot of discussion around whether that shockwave could have contributed to the run-ups recorded in New Zealand, Australia, and at beaches and inlets along both North and South America, and in Japan. The idea is that the sudden change in air pressure punches down on the surface of the ocean. This can change the elevation in the ocean by millimeters to centimeters, and when this gets closer to land, if the conditions are right, it can generate tsunami. We know this happened, for example, in the Great Eruption of Krakatau in 1883, said Professor Dave Tappan from the British Geological Survey. We're working on it right now. Fortunately, over the past 20 years, we've developed the mathematics to numerically model these events to better understand them.
Kufisia na hake moya.
Lene, toi
Kawen.
kita ko na utangat ko yung umi afaita.
Koya.
You can, this is the one on this video that I was telling you.
Right, okay.
Na nausisio pe ki he hau ai vai kana vai ho pe o a ui tafi. E asi hon.
This is nice that we're learning this more and more every day.
Io.
So that will be our show for tonight.
For today,
Yes, for today, and then tonight we'll come back again, get the update.
io.
But until then, o fato pe fat ke family ne kuya e more ko hoko i tonga.
Io. Malo mo mea mai. Mo mea.
Ko ia malo.
Io.